Few days we'll be looking at a poem by Alexander Pope entitled To a Lady. It is one of the epistles that Pope wrote that he collected in a volume called Moral Epistles. It's sort of a strange title because they're largely satiric poems. Unlike his essay on man, which was intended as a serious didactic poem, these poems, these moral epistles, are more satiric, gently satiric, I guess, for their day. And this one, To a Lady, was actually addressed to Martha Blount. So my understanding is he sent these poems to the addressees as epistles, but then he also then collected epistles in a volume which was published. So this epistle, To a Lady, unnamed, but it is Martha Blount, is subtitled Of the Characters of Women, and it's a satiric look at women, and mainly sort of women in roles. One of the things that painters would do is they would paint women, and sometimes men, in the role of some character. This started with, like, actresses would be in roles and they'd be painted in those roles, but in other cases it was just, people who had hired them to do their portrait, and they did them as Artemis or Diana or Athena or something like that. And so that's sort of but he's looking at that as sort of indicative of women's, I guess, variability. So here's the poem, To a Lady, of the Characters of Women, 1735. Nothing so true as what you once let fall. Most women have no characters at all. Matter too soft a lasting mark to bear, and best distinguished by black, brown, or fair. How many pictures of one nymph we view, and all how unlike each other, all how true. Arcadia's countess, here in ermined pride, is there Pastora by a fountainside. Here Phania leering on her own good man, and there a naked Leda with a swan. Let then the fair one beautifully cry in Magdalen's loose hair and lifted eye, or dressed in smiles of sweet Cecilia's shrine, with simpering angels, palms, and harps divine. Whether the charmer sinner it or saint it, if jolly grow romantic, I must paint it. Come then, the colors and the ground prepare, dip in the rainbow, trick her off in air, choose a firm cloud before it fall, and in it catch, ere she change, the Cynthia of this minute. Rufa, whose eye, quick glancing o'er the park, attracts each light gay meteor of a spark, agrees as ill with Rufa studying Locke, as Sappho's diamonds with her dirty smock, or Sappho at her toilet's greasy task, with Sappho fragrant at an evening mask. So morning insects that in muck begun shine, buzz, and flybrow in the setting sun. Oh, how soft is Cilia, fearful to offend, the frail one's advocate, the weak one's friend. To her, Callista proved her conduct nice, and good Simplicius asks of her advice. Sudden she storms, she raves, you tip the wink, but spare your censure. Cilia does not drink. All eyes may see from what the change arose, all eyes may see a pimple on her nose. Papilia, wedded to her amorous spark, sighs for the shades. How charming is a park! A park is purchased, but the fair he sees, all bathed in tears. Oh, odious, odious trees! Ladies, like variegated tulip show, 'tis to their changes half their charms we owe. fine by defect and delicately weak, their happy spots the nice admirer take. 'Twas thus Calypso once each heart alarmed, awed without virtue, without beauty charmed, her tongue bewitched as oddly as her eyes, less wit than mimic, more a wit than wise. Strange graces still, and stranger flight she had, was just not ugly, and was just not mad. Yet ne'er so sure our passion to create, as when she touched the brink of all we hate. Narcissus' nature, tolerably mild, to make a wash would hardly stew a child, has even been proved to grant a lover's prayer, and paid a tradesman once to make him stare. Gave alms at Easter in a Christian trim, and made a widow happy for a whim. Why then declare good nature is her scorn, when 'tis by that alone that she can be born? Why pique all mortals, yet affect a name, a fool to pleasure, yet a slave to fame? Now deep in Taylor and the Book of Martyrs, now drinking citron with his grace and chartres. Now conscience chills her, now passion burns, and atheism and religion take their turns. A very heathen in the carnal part, yet still a sad good Christian at her heart. See sin in state majestically drunk, proud as a peeress, prouder as a punk, chaste to her husband, frank to all beside, a teeming mistress, but a barren bride. What then? Let blood and body bear the fault, her head's untouched, that noble seat of thought. Such this day's doctrine, in another fit, she sins with poets through pure love of wit. What has not fired her bosom or her brain? Caesar and Talboy, Charles and Charlemagne. As Helluo, late dictator of the feast, the nose of Ogu and the tip of taste, critiqued your wine and analyzed your meat, yet on plain pudding deigned at home to eat. So Philomede, lecturing all mankind on the soft passion and the taste refined, the address, the delicacy stoops at once, and makes her hearty meal upon a dunce.